All right. Hello, everybody. Apologies for the delay. I was trying to work out a couple of issues that I literally just ran into this morning, and kind of cautionary tale for other people that might attempt to do what I was trying to do. So I was working on um, getting the player to interact with and that works fine, interacting with the vehicle and getting in the vehicle and driving the vehicle. The one thing that I was trying to do in my character was hello Andre, welcome. So yeah, what I was trying to do in my character is when you interact with the, let's see, where is my character class? When you would interact with the vehicle, it would play an animation to get into the vehicle, and also attempt as a big word, as it would try to change the animation blueprint to an animation blueprint to be played in a vehicle, which seems perfectly fine. Well, not with Unreal, at least not the way that I understand, or how the current setup is. And so the way I had it done, it was like this. So when you enter the vehicle, you can call this function and say, okay, on my mesh, on my character, set the anim instance to be the one in the vehicle, which uses the same skeleton and all. No difference between these, just the set of animations that are being played. Well, doing this caused a hard crash on the engine, and now my player class does not respond to anything related to the AnimBP, which is completely bonkers. I'm not sure how that is happening, but I'm trying to I'm gonna try and recreate this child blueprint. Unfortunately, fortunately I have all the functions in there, so I can just move them to this other child class. I'm not sure if during that crash there was something registered in the engine that this particular binary file has an issue. I'm not entirely sure, or kill the tick, because that's basically what's happening on the mesh. There's no tick happening, like just the player stays there like this, so there's literally nothing playing on it, even though I have an animation blueprint playing on, assigned to it. The parent of it works perfectly fine. So it's a real kind of interesting issue, I guess. I'm not sure if, but yeah, just as a word of advice, at least what's going on for me, trying to grab the mesh and setting the using this node just by itself, setting the anim instance class is causing me some hardship. So I will try and just keep everything. I wanted to do it this way, just to try and keep things more, I'm gonna just do the vehicle animation in the vehicle animation class. I don't want to, put everything in the main blueprint, anim blueprint. But the way it looks, it might be just easier to have everything in the anim blueprint and just work off of like the boolean, saying that okay, if it's in vehicle, then go down this route, and go down, or if it's not, just play the regular standing and moving animation. But yeah, that lost me a couple of hours this morning trying to figure out why this was happening, and yeah, just a cautionary tale, I guess. DK Jens, yeah, yeah, that's why I was a little bit late as well, and then OBS was having a little bit of a fit, because software. Okay, well, but that kind of brings us back to the stream today, and while it's not going to be the prettiest character, it's just going to be the Animan walking around. let's actually try and fix at least some things. You know, kind of I've created the this child called, you know, main character, but of course it doesn't have anything in it. It has the arms, which, okay, at least we get some visual look at it. But what I wanted to do is this is completely empty, so I'm going to try and pull some of the functionality that I had in that main character into this. And let's start with let me see what I'm going to start with first. Alright, so first I'm gonna be spawning. I'm gonna grab the kind of all the stuff that I have here on begin play, namely you know, spawning the wrist device and bringing that in here. So a little bit of a mess at the beginning. And I'm going to try and do this just step by step. I guess it might be a good thing to just clean up some of this stuff. Alright, let's create a variable here. Luckily with the blueprints, everything is pretty quick as far as, you know, moving things in and creating variables and all that. That's a big plus for the blueprints. So let's see, it got spawned, which is great. Okay, so we have the item on hand. Now I'm gonna try and copy at least everything that's related to the player input graph, just because there's quite a ton of functionality in here that I want to use. So let's bring that in. I'm gonna bring that in from the class that went kaput. Alright, so let's go back in here and let's create a new graph and call this player input graph. And there's going to be a ton of stuff that's going to come in here, so let's paste that in. Create matching function. That's the one thing that I'm not entirely sure if it just creates the function or if it copies everything in that function as well. Yeah, so see, like I have all these functions like reset view angles. For example, when you hide inside a locker, I want to restrict the camera to only a certain yaw and pitch. So, but yeah, as you can see, it did create the functions, but it didn't create everything inside the functions. And apparently, I don't think it created anything as far as the functionality. And unfortunately, it's also another stupid thing here, that these are not functions, they're events. So, but they got created as some of them got created as functions. Now I'm not too you know, bothered by that, but because some of them I can just set them as, you know, if we look at the functions from the broken class, it's you know, this stuff can also work in come on. Oh, why are you being so silly? So this stuff can also work in the function here, but there's some events that that have timelines or have delays, and the delay or timeline does not work in a function. It has to be inside an event. Like this one would work here, but if some of the ones that I copy have um, you know, have a timeline or a delay inside the function, then you know, it doesn't really work so well. Alright, so let's do a little bit. There's going to be tad bit of tedious work here. So for example, like these ones, you know, they have parameters that you can pass on to them, so that's fine. You know, it's I can just add those in. Yeah, so this is what I was saying. If anybody might be using something like this, you know, to limit, be it oh, something is humming very hard in your stream. What could that be? Let me see. Any better now? Let me know if that might work any better for you, DK. I've tried to stop the music. I'm not sure if that's that was it. Huh. The microphone. Is the audio coming in okay? It might just be my headset. I might need to get a new one because I have a really low end type of thing. Sometimes also my oh, thank you, Andre. Well, yeah, that's I'm gonna try and save some, put some money aside, and maybe get a better like a microphone or some kind of a better headset, and see if hopefully that would help. Yeah, my apologies for my apologies for that issue. Okay. So there's a few things here that I need to address. Let's try and just create some of these and reduce some of the errors as we go through it. Let's see, what else do we have? Just to create the variables to start off. Alright, there's two more. Trying to reduce this bar down to nothing. Flashlight, okay, we got the flashlight. Let's see, what else do we have? Any more variables that need to be created? Seems to be fine at this point. Now let's see, I think there might be some something here. Let's create this. There, two less, great success. Alright, what else? So and yeah, so this is, it's creating the functions, but I've already pasted like the event, but there's also, let's see, did it create a function in here as well? Why is that? Oh, there was one in the event graph and one in the player input graph. So let's take a look at this one. Yeah, why would it create it there? Alright, let's clean that up a little bit more. Let's main menu open. Let's create this variable. Alright, and water. router, create variable. So there's not going to be the functionality for these ones just yet. I'll have to do that offline, but and the grenade arc, this one, let's see. And I have not forget about about doing a tutorial on how to create this this grenade logic. I got this from a an older package, but I think it's worth sharing just the way that the prediction arc is happening, because that's kind of interesting how that works. So let me copy this into my functions here. Actually, I think I can just right click and paste function, predict grenade arc. There we go. Alright, so far so good. This seems to have compiled, and that one works there. So it's not going to be fully on, but the main thing that I wanted to have working is the menu itself. You know, like when you interact with something. The visual aspect of this is not going to be perfect, but I wanted to have this. You know, so I wanted to at least have you know, bringing that up. And let's see, how about interacting? And also, as an update from yesterday, the issue with the interact, because I wasn't able to interact with things, if you remember. So that one was the issue with that was that at the time of when everything was loaded, also the level that had the plane in it was loaded, and the plane was also receiving input. So there was a conflict there. So not loading that one at this time, because that one's only loaded at the beginning of the game, and then I destroy that actor anyways. So that one, you know, doing it that way, it works fine. But Andre, yeah, I wish I could understand blueprints. Right now I have no time for learning. That's true. You know, that's the thing with time. It's always so difficult to find time to do the things you like, right? Because that's it's tough. Okay, well, so now one thing that is missing is the interact, and what else do I have on this that is assisting with the interaction? So when that's the attack. So this is the class that got pooched somehow. Let's see. Let's take a look at the player controller, if there's anything else in here. That's the radial menu. Let's see if the radial menu or like the menu for the weapons work as well. Alright, so that part works. You know, kind of selecting a weapon. This part works as well. Kind of the ADS works. This one works as well, yeah, because this one is also handled separately. It's just, and this is why I wanted to kind of highlight not having everything in the same class, right? So this one is just handled in the weapon itself. So that way, you know, I can you know, losing the functionality with that issue that happened with the engine, I at least did not lose some of the stuff that I already have with the weapons and such. So, and yeah, I guess that door does not have a collision, or what could be happening to it. I think that might be the case. Okay, one thing that I wanted to fix is this interaction with objects, because I wanted to be able to go into the house or pick up this this binocular, pick up stuff. So let's take a look at my future defunct player class here, and let's see where did my interact go. Trying to figure out. I think this one was maybe in the parent class, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look. At least that's what I thought. Interact, so it's not in here. Let's see, maybe the grandparent? No, it's not in there either. So what could have happened to it? Where did it go? Well, that's a little frustrating. Alright, so it's not in the player controller, though I was kind of thinking it might have been. Let's take a quick search at this, and let's do tools, finding blueprints, interact. Where have you gone? There's just some smaller functions happening here. Also, the other issue is that in the fact that it is not showing the interaction menu, is these interactable items, they would only react to a specific class if once that overlaps with them. And let's go all the way, drill into this interactable master that everything spawns off of. And at this point, when something overlaps with it, let's see, where is it? It's right here. It's casting to this main character player, which is not the current class that I have. So what I will do from here, I will try and cast it to this newly created class, this replacement. So from here, let's cast to ALS main character. And now I will have to change this one as well. So this one is going to be main character. And hopefully this won't create too many issues. we'll see how much trouble this is gonna make. Hey, 3Die, welcome. So today there's a little bit of I've run into some serious issue last night due to, well, actually this morning, due to something that I thought was kind of smart to do. You know, switching up the anim blueprint at runtime. You know, kind of, if you enter a vehicle, use this anim blueprint. If you exit, then switch back to the other one. Well, that caused a horrible crash. Like, I've never had anything like it. And from that, my current player class is no longer working, which I am baffled. Like, the anim blueprint in it is not working anymore. So it was something that I did not really understand. Like, yeah. So no idea at all as to why that would happen. So right now I'm trying to kind of pick up the pieces and fix some of that issue with that was caused when I was trying to switch between anim blueprints. And kind of as a cautionary tale, don't do it. I mean, unless you want to risk things. Right now I'm just gonna stick to one anim blueprint for the player and one only. Fortunately, it's not a big or not a horrible fix that I need to do, but yeah, there's some refactoring needed. So that's one of the trouble. Like this stuff here, I'm gonna have to fix some of these, but I think I don't need them, at least for this test. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to, you know, get into game mode and at least try and see if I can get this thing to pick it up, but apparently not so much. To actually not just pick it up, but interact with it. So yeah, right now it's really causing some horrible grief for me. Yeah, well, so it's not so much about that. I think the issue, so what I was trying to do, and that kind of caused my my troubles. Let me see, where is my main character? These are all just the parents. Kind of a little bit of a mess here. Let me see, where did I put that? So even that's, and the weird thing is, even though I checked out the old version of that class from my source control, it still didn't work, and that's what completely baffled me. So I think it might be some other issue that not related to what I did. So it's yeah, but so what was going on? This guy, even though it has it's a child blueprint, it seems like it's not ticking, which is incredibly frustrating. And so there. Don't tell me that fixed it. If that really fixed it, I'm gonna be oh god. Now it's ticking. I've set the mesh to be visible again. And you were seeing that nothing was ticking. So this is basically the, like, if you've seen it from before, you know I was doing the set leader post component for all the body parts to grab it from the mesh. And I you know I don't want to show, you know, this particular Animan at runtime, right? But now I'm just completely baffled by this. Yeah, and now now see, it's like it's not doing it again. What? Oh my god. Oh, there is? Which one it is? Oh, yeah, 3-die, if you do recall that, I'd be happy to figure out which one that is, because I kind of recall something about that, but anyways. So now, with 2 hours of my life wasted for something this silly, thank you so much for checking. Thank you so much for checking. And anybody that joined, apologies for the humming in DK. Jen's reported as like a humming. I'm assuming it might be due to something. You know, I have a pretty outdated, well, not pretty, very outdated microphone. But I'm gonna see if I can save some money and get a new one, or kind of hopefully something that doesn't do any humming or any kind of causing any trouble. Okay, well, so this is a relief, because I did not want to move all that functionality back into another child class. God. Okay, well, so let's try and undo some of this stuff here that I've just thankfully I have not deleted these nodes, so I still have them here. But and actually, so it was this one. Yeah. And the frustrating thing was, like I said, I literally just did that. I did not change anything in the player itself. So before, when it was working, this, I was doing the same thing. I was setting this to not be visible on the mesh, and it was set to not visible, and everything was working. But after running that, like I said, having that crash due to trying to set the instance, I am not entirely sure what had happened to it. So go figure. Alright, let me save it, because I have a ton of tabs open, and Unreal doesn't like that very much sometimes, especially on something that doesn't have, what, 64 gigs of RAM or something. But luckily, and this is exactly, this is kind of the reason to stream and share things. It's sometimes you just don't think of it, and you just you know, not realizing, you just do something simple, but that seems to fix things. And I won't be holding my breath just yet, but I'll wait to see once I jump into game mode if it works properly. So okay, let me fix this back up. Let's refresh all nodes, and hopefully apparently it didn't like that very much. So this one is going to be back to main character player, which was originally set to. go. Refreshing some nodes usually does the trick, cleans some things up. Let's change this up. Last main character player. Set that up. Okay, so that one works. It is so long to reopen. Yeah, sometimes it takes forever to open a project. Okay, and so we're back to the character. Let's see. Just gonna save everything because that. Now we need to fix this little guy here. And let's see, what's its troubles? It's probably from one of the parents. Here, looking at the wristband device. Well, so the way I handle the inventory, I actually have a map, so I can show you how my inventory looks. It's actually from a package on the marketplace that I kind of went about and changed because again I was just starting with Unreal, and I managed to get that package just to learn from it. So the let me see, I think this one's saved. Come on, I guess it needs to save everything in the levels. Yeah, so Andre, let me go back to one of my let's see, base character. That is just the grandparent of everything, right? So that's where all my subsequent class come from. This one does not have the inventory component, and this one should have it. Main inventory component. Let me find this real quick, and I'll show you how the map looks. It's a little bit of a complicated, well, not a complicated, but the struct itself that goes into the map has main inventory. Alright, so this one, let's go to the base. And okay, so yeah, don't mind the this was one class that I did not get around to clean up very well. And let's actually, that was the main. Let's go to the base one here. Okay, so now the inventory has a map of string and then this S item struct. And what the S items inventory. Let's take a look at this one, because this one is kind of the main thing in it. So S item. Let's see. How do I look that one up? S item filter by, are those under miscellaneous? Not really. Let's see. I was trying to figure out where that where this particular, there it is. Okay. So now the structure itself has oh, perfect, Andre. So the structure itself has you know, a set of the item itself, which is a data row table. So this one is basically all the details for that particular item. Then the count, so I'm gonna have, you know, maybe 5 apples in my inventory. Then the equip state, if that particular item is a weapon, or, you know, usually a weapon, right? So something that you can equip. Then life, for example, this was something old. I can't remember what I was using life for. Maybe before I added the life to the data row table. Then if it's permanent, basically initially I had the idea of having a compass, like a literal compass that you would look at to guide yourself in the world, but I thought that was a little too tedious. So that's always going to stay with you. You can't drop it out of the inventory. Yeah, so this is basically how this one is set up, each one of these items. So each one of these items is added to this map. So the way the reason I have a map is to more easily identify an item in my inventory. So if you think of a apple, I'm just gonna look at by apple, and I'm gonna bring all the details for that. Like the item with all its details. Like it gives you so much health or stuff like that. I have 10 apples. If it's a weapon, the equip state is equipped, so I know to equip it or unequip it. Andre, hopefully that was a kind of a very brief and fast go through this, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. 3 die, there is visibility set up into the graph, check it, there is nothing referenced. Okay, well, I'm not too concerned with it. The fact of it is that this particular skeleton or skeletal mesh, all the materials are the same. So I can just edit this material to make it transparent or something like that. I'm not too concerned by it. It's really odd why it wouldn't apply, even though I have them applied through the leader pose component. It wouldn't apply that animation when it's not visible, which is what? Anyways, oh, Andre, my pleasure. Hopefully that was helpful, and I think you have me on Discord. Feel free to ask me anything else. If you have any other questions. So, all right. Well, now after that detour, to say the least, let's see if this works now. We'll find out. Because what I really want to do is okay. So we're in the game. Okay, everything works. Let's see, interacting with things. Pick up binoculars. No, pick up. Come on, pick up binoculars. Why won't you pick them up? Interacting with the door. That doesn't work either. What the heck? Is there something wrong with the interact? Alright, so let's close tabs to the right because I don't need those anymore. I'm gonna close some of these things here. This is something that I need to think a little bit better of. If I want to move some of the stuff from the player controller into the actual character itself, and I might end up doing something like that. Alright, so I'm gonna try and clean some of these things up. The interactive binoculars, and this one's the Anim blueprint, so I can leave that up there because we're gonna go back to it. Let me jump into the main character now that it's seems to be working, and try and figure out why the interact isn't, because I was kind of thinking that I had it in here, but now I'm kind of wondering where it's at. Everything else works, but the interact is something that I can't seem to find. So let's try and look for it real quick. And it's all funny that whenever you try and do the search, like open, define, and blueprints, through tools, find in blueprints. There's always a different number of blueprints that it needs to index. Okay. Alright, let's see, where could that be at? Yeah, 3-die. It's becoming, as far as functionality, I think I have pretty much. Besides, the one thing that I still want to finish off with is the car. But everything else is in place. Like interacting with objects, dialogues, missions. Um, Yeah, and Andre, that's totally right, and I love that. So much things just to make a door open. Exactly. Oh, that's perfect. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. All right. Well, let's see. Where is that darn interact happening? I'm not sure why it would be. Why you would find it in here. That's not really what I'm looking for. Where could it be? Da -da -da -da, da -da -da -da. Set best interactable, get best interactable. Let's try and find some references to this. So this function is used to if there's like multiple items that you're looking at, like for example, if there was like this this binoculars, and then there was also, let's say, like apple, right? So there's like multiple items that you want to interact with. This set of functions is based on the dot product, is doing a look at it. So you're looking closer towards the binoculars, so it's going to say pick up binoculars. You're looking closer to the apple, it's going to say pick up a rotten apple, or open door. So that's kind of how that system works. But that still doesn't really bring me to where my interact action would be at. So let me try and look for something here under project settings. And yes, I think this is one of the difficulties when you work on things by yourself sometimes, especially if like things become so big that you have a bunch of stuff happening, and you try to go back to something, and it's like, where did that live at? So that's always a little bit of a difficulty. Let's see, where is the input here? And interact, that's the interact. So that's what it's called. It should find it as interact. But there's so many things in this that let's see, could it be interact action? it's just the one that we just looked at. And that's in something that I don't use. I wish their search would have been a little bit more, specific. Like, how would you? I just wanted to search for this particular thing. I don't care about interaction text. What do these refer to? Nothing. Just the fact that it's got like interact in here. Okay, let's see, where can we find this little interact bugaboo that's kind of giving us trouble. Alright, so this is within the inventory. We said that we don't care about that. Why am I having such a hard time finding it? So everything works fine here with the inventory, even though I don't really use it. The game menu, the camera action, sprinting, the grenade logic. And again, that's something that was working before this. What is this? Oh, it's for the crawling states. Okay. That's the custom movement thing. This is just the base one, which I'm not sure I would have had anything to add in it for interaction. Well, this stream hasn't gone the way I was hoping it would. My apologies for that. I was kind of excited, last night things were working pretty cool with the car, like getting in it and everything, and then it just kind of went kaput. So that's the attack, the equipment, the gas mask. But whatever happened to the interact? So then this one is on each one of the interactable items to tell you that you're interacting in case you care if you're interacting. So with the interface, each one of the children of this class will implement this event interact dot that will be called, and maybe I could search for this. Yeah, so Andre, sorry for that. What I was trying to figure out is when you press E, there's an action that happens, and you can interact with an item, right? So you can pick up something, you can open a door. The problem with that is that I can't seem to find where that function is called for whatever reason. It just doesn't. I'm not able to find it. Yeah, so when you press, like I said, when you press E and you're like in range of this, you press E and you interact with this, there's this function that gets called, and on each one of these items there's um, there's a this call that gets called, you know. So this one would have its parent class, probably because it's an equipment class, would have an interact dot, and because it's a dot product, so that's why I called it the interact dot. But what I'm trying to find is where is that being called from, you know. So that's why I can't figure out where it's gone. And apparently it's here under the NPC friendly. What in God's name has happened? So hopefully, Andre, hopefully that gives you explains a little bit of your question. And through that, have you checked the warning message because you're playing it, so that well, so that wasn't causing any troubles. It's just yeah, it was tough to figure out where it was coming from, you know. So that was the totally weird part of it. And now that I look at this, I am not entirely sure how this interact dot function has ended up in my NPC friendly class. You know, go figure. Like the HUD, this well, I get the HUD because you're interacting with the friendly NPC, so I'm just creating the HUD to let you know that you're interacting with it. But this interact dot, no, actually no, yeah, I'm kind of misfiring right now. It should be here because you're actually interacting with the NPC. That's my bad. But what I'm trying to find is, and I'm not finding it anymore, is where the main action happens. So basically, when the player presses E, that action needs to be registered, and then we need to call interact dot in all the places, or if there's any item in your vicinity that you're going to interact with, and that this thing can be called on. So I'm trying to find, because it should come from the player class, but after that crash from earlier today, I am not entirely sure what could have happened. So there is no thing which printing everything. Well, so I do, I do print strings sometimes, just to troubleshoot issues. But what has happened today has never happened before. This is a first for me. This issue was. I'm willing to bet it will kind of baffle the people at Epic, but yeah, I've never run into this kind of trouble before. Yeah. So I really wish I had something better to show today, but unfortunately it's been kind of a mess. So my apologies. Hopefully, um, I don't want to take any more of your time with me fidgeting around trying to solve this issue with the engine. But I promise I'll have it working by next week, and I'm definitely going to try and have the vehicle working as well. The A little bit maybe more of the town being built, because I'm still kind of trying to find positioning for the main houses, and also pulling in the roads, and kind of pulling in the roads together. Now they're coming together, but yeah, there's still work to be done. And but well, so if you guys are okay with me going forward, I'll keep going. But if you guys want to stick around, I'll keep going. It's just gonna be, it might be a little bit more of dead silence and not a lot of things happening while I try to find my bearings. So okay, well, let's go then. Um, as I would say in okay, thank you, Helion. So as I would say in some of the languages of people that have joined, you know, I know them in a few languages. So I know like vamonos, davai, andiamo, marche, en marche, right, in French, tridai. So let's go. All right, let's figure out where that. Oh, perfect. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Thank you, guys. Okay, well, so let's try and figure that out. Let's see where is that? Because the main thing is, where am I um, running this process to call the interact? Yalla, yeah, yalla. There you go. Kadima in Hebrew. Nice. There we go. We're learning something as well. And I know yalla. Yeah, yeah. I know that one as well. So okay. Where do we want to start? I wanted to start in the player and kind of go from here, because this is the kind of the lower of the class, and this is the one that you control. This being you, the main character. So I need to try and find, or at least go through all of these, and dig into the interact and see why that's not here anymore, because I do remember it being in the player. Let's try going up one level to the next class. So this is just a move. It doesn't really hold a lot of stuff in this, because it should be shared with the other class. Let me go back to the player and the controller class. What's this custom event? Oh, I guess it's some old stuff. Collapse graph. Okay, that's just nothing useful here. This one is of the main character player, by the way it looks, so that one's fine. I'm just starting to think that could that have just been pruned by the engine and it's in the wake of that crash? I don't see that happening. It should be something else. Let's try and luckily I'm gonna try and search for something that's a little odd. So I do have a comment where I'm trying to interact with the dog. Can't interact with dog. Well, worst case, I can just re-add that in. So let me see, I believe I have it saved here, so luckily at least I have it in one of my old class to interact with objects. So I'm gonna just try and hack this out of here and bring it back into my main character, into the player input graph, which is here. Place it down here to interact with objects. Alright, so when the press is when you press the interact, then it should call these interact dots on the items that have been as a highlighted interaction. So let's see what kind of mess this creates. Hopefully it compiles, and it did. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. So that fixes it. But I still, in my mind, I'm still trying to understand. I'm not sure why that didn't disappear, but that's not that big of an issue. I'm still trying to understand why that got pruned out of it, so it's really silly. Alright, so entering the house, the lighting looks decent. There's still a little bit of a trouble with the updating of the lighting, you know, with lumen and all, but not so bad as yesterday. What I ended up doing was I did place some lights around the openings and brought down um, the directional light indirect lighting. Oh yeah, 3-die will be here. Will be here now that the interact is solved. We can at least attempt um, to do what I was hoping to do yesterday, kind of the starting of the mission where you rescue the people that are hiding here in the basement. So Andre, because I I have to admit it, I don't know how to do light baking, and coming from CryEngine, everything was dynamic, and you know, Lumen, that's where I kind of like it just for that. So yeah. That's one of the reasons that I just stick with dynamic, and hopefully, oh look at that, that's a kind of a ghost story right there. The door opened, and hopefully it's gonna get better as you know, as time progresses with Lumen. But at least for now, it's kind of I'm just gonna keep it like this. Okay. So as I was saying, what I'm planning to do is, now that I got the interaction back and working, is well yeah. So this is what I meant. You know, this kind of noise is very annoying with Lumen, and I'm still working at trying to figure out what might be better ways to handle it. You know, I'm still not fully there, but um, hopefully we'll get to that. Okay. So as I was mentioning, there's going to be in this house, there's going to be some folks that are going to be hiding in here, and the way I wanted to set it up is they're going to be hiding down here in the basement under the house. So in order to do that, since they were hiding, I don't want to make the entrance to the basement very obvious. So what I plan to do is, underneath one of these rugs, so you'd be coming in and interacting with one of the rugs. It would be kind of pulled to the side. What I'm thinking, maybe either transform, kind of transforming the mesh into like a one of those, when you pull the corner off of the rug, and then underneath the rug you'd be able to see like an opening here. And the great thing is, this house has been already put in place, which to a really awesome format. That's what I love this package, is the layout of the houses. They're very realistic looking, and I'm still debating where to put it, if I want to put it there or right here in the corridor. It's it from the standpoint of the terrain, because I'm gonna have to cut a hole in it to actually go into the basement. I'm thinking right somewhere in the middle of the house might be an easier place to put the basement entrance, kind of the secret basement, so to speak. Hey Funky Pants, welcome. How are you? I love your your username. The other option would have been here in the kitchen, but again, I don't want to have to do too many interactions. I just want to do, okay, pull the rug. You interact with the rug, pull the rug, and then reveal the opening underneath. So that's why. So I'm doing good. You kind of joined after. If you just joined, you kind of joined after a little bit of a kerfuffle that I was going through with I went through a little bit of frustrating moments with earlier today, with interacting with interacting with the car, that kind of broke a lot of functionality within other classes. Within this main character actor class, crashed the engine. It was like, you know brimstone fire meteor strike kind of thing. So now that I got something, back in working, I'm back at it. Yeah, so watching it from the beginning might be an exercise in frustration, but if you want to carry on through it, there might be something interesting to see. So this house package, Funky Pants, is called the residential houses. So I believe if you look on the marketplace, market new content, I can share that with you. Let's see, residential. And the nice part about it is there's actually a couple of them. I'm not entirely sure which one I had. I think I got it right when it was coming out, so that meant that I got the following updates as well. I think it might have been this one. Yeah, so I think it's this one. And yeah, as you can see, there's the inside of the house. There's a lot of furniture in it. It's an amazing package. I have to say, it's an awesome package. Yeah. So Helion, the midpoint seems best to me. That's where I would put a basement if I was building a house. Yeah. Well, and a lot of houses they have them. The thing is, this house was not necessarily designed. Like if you look around, I couldn't find. I think if you were to, it would be a door here that would go into the basement. This is where I would see potentially a door going into the basement. But aside from that, there's no other entry points unless it's coming, kind of from the outside. But this is a secret kind of entrance, so that's why it shouldn't be easily detectable by it could be like the one that the actual what I'm thinking of, and it might be a little bit more interesting to have. It's a lot of houses have like crawl spaces, so if you think about it, it's going to be like kind of a dirt basement, not necessarily a crawl space, but not a finished basement, like with the concrete, like a nice flooring and anything like that, but an unfinished basement. I think that might be kind of interesting. Okay, well, I have the rug here, and then I have this piece of flooring. So I'm gonna try and use this one to cut out. I know this is something that I haven't played around with Unreal too much recent, or like with Unreal Engine 5. I know there's like a way to sculpt things, but I don't really know how. So I'm just gonna use Blender to cut things out of this. So I'm gonna try and cut this out, like cut an opening, and use the create the door as well. And I'm gonna do it with I'm gonna try and export both of these guys at the same time, because I wanted to kind of place the opening right underneath the rug. The only thing that might be a little not weird, but it should be interesting to see how this is going to turn out, like honestly. Oh, so that one, Funky Pants, that's great, There was another house package like which was free, and that's the other package that I have, and it's going to be for some of these simpler houses that are going to be not enterable. And unfortunately, I'm not loading that level at the moment, so I can't really show you. But yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking from the collisions point of things, it's looking alright. There's plenty of room to, like, I'm looking at the width of the carpet, and I'm trying to figure out the opening, and if you can, like, the player capsule can squeeze through that opening. In Funky Pants, yeah, so this is the other package. I think this was the one that might have been free It's also, I think it's called Modular Houses. It might have been free on at one point on the monthly free stuff. Audrey, so the game takes place in current times. You know, there's nothing, you know, outdated or sci-fi modern. Oh, thank you so much, Funky Pants. Thank you, thank you. One thing that I'm not sure if you were in yesterday. We were working with I was showing off a spline package that I want to use to create the edging of the world, and thinking of completely. These are, you know, I can't take full credit for this, because the only thing that I might be responsible for is placing this already built house with interior inside the world and then the lighting. But other than that, it's uh, thank you everybody that did this on the marketplace. And again, this I think this one is for Prop House, and their packages are awesome. But yeah, earlier we were playing with procedural stuff, and that's what it's kind of. That's I'm good at that, because you know it doesn't really take too much. And we did end up with a kind of a cool scene towards the end of this here, because I was using these this particular IA scatter blueprint, which was on sale. I think the sale might expire today. It's on a heavily, like 70% discounted sale, and I was using it to create these um, you know, place these cliffs along the edge of the world to limit the player from going off the edge of the world. And just doing it literally, like these things at the top, they're placed with that spline. These are placed through the spline, and also there's another piece of kind of a little bit more inland. Um, these these are also placed on that spline. So yeah, everything truly just procedural. And I was just looking at this, and I'm like, oh, well, with not a lot of well, where was that? Kind of getting lost here a little bit. But yeah, without a lot of you know, work, and just with a procedural tool, you can end up with a pretty kind of cool looking environment, right? You know, and also the 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 vegetation is placed procedurally, and vegetation assets, this is like the Nordic conifer biome. I just went about and tweaked some of the settings in the way the procedural foliage placement is happening, and removed some of the vegetation just to clean some things up a little bit. So Funky Pants, I do not do streaming every day because of, you know, adulting, right? Is that what you would call it, adulting? I have a day job, so by the time I'm done, it's kind of late, and I think a lot of people are just not around anymore. I was kind of thinking about doing that, but having a structured time seems to have worked pretty well so far. I'm happy to have some people like yourself that stop by regularly. Just having them on the weekends at noon seems to work. If it's something that's scheduled, I think it's a pretty good thing. Okay, so let's start off. I'm gonna export these two items. Actually, hopefully, I was hoping it's gonna work a little bit easier, but I'm just gonna go like doing it like this. Let's see, export, would that be? Yeah, I think export is the way to go. So let's export this real quick. I got the carpet. And oh, so I stream at noon. It's like I usually start around 12 p.m. and this is Eastern time. So that makes it right now with the daylight savings, I believe it's 4 hours difference to GMT. Alright, so let's export this piece as well. Yeah, so now it should be, I would think it's 5:40 GMT. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So you guys did, are you on GMT time, Funky Pants? Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess I guess you guys did daylight savings times as well. I think there's a difference between like when the East Coast does it and then when like Europe does it. It's a little bit of a difference there. Oh, and I think I'm noticing a little bit of an issue with some of the meshes here. I might need to fix that separately. Yeah, so I live on in the US. All right. Well, let's make this an interactable item. And Andre, yeah, it's 7:40. Yeah, that's so you're Central? Are you Central time? All right. So there we go. We have the carpet. Um, I don't understand these time things. Yeah, it's it's a thing, I guess. Okay, so I want to make this one so it looks like it's kind of pulled back, and I'm trying to figure out what might be the best way to do that. A cloth simulation could do it pretty well, but there's not a lot of polygons in here, so I'm kind of starting to think that I might just let's turn these into quads, and I'm gonna try and grab this point here. Hopefully this is not gonna look too terrible. No. It's funky for like because we have to. The main thing is um, with time. It's like this daylight savings times. Like, do we really need it? But I kind of get both sides of the story. Like, they need to set the times back and times forward and all that. But yeah. And did I fix it? Yes, I did. I ended up just redoing some things, and now it seems to be working. So I'm trying now to get um, to get the carpet to when once you interact with the carpet, to actually change the mesh to make it so that you kind of pull it to the side. So that's what I wanted to do now, and I'm gonna try and see if how this might turn out. It's hopefully it's not gonna be too much of a mess, but we'll see. Alright, so let's grab it here from the side. I'm gonna try and bring it up. Let's grab these 2 points to see if we can make it like that, maybe. Maybe a little more. Let's rotate this as well, but kind of along a smaller point, like that. Move it. Whoops, not like that, not like that. And now let's try and select a little more of this and rotate it right around the cursor. So Funky Pants, oh, I moved to the US, oh, it's closing in on 20 years. Yeah, it's been a while. Wow. Yeah. Alright, so I'm not entirely sure how this one would look. I'm curious to see it myself because I'm just hoping it's not going to be too stretched. Alright, so there's our new mesh for the carpet that's being pulled back. I'm going to try and export this and bring it in. Anji, you like all versions of programs? Do you mean programs like the daylight savings times, or like oh, you mean Blender? Yeah. But the reason that I'm using an older version of Blender is because I have a lot of plugins that I have bought for 2.79, and I don't want to pay again to buy them for 3. Whatever. I'm already used with the workflow in 2.79, and the amount of usage, like, I don't use it as much. I only use it for things like this, where I try to make something custom out of an existing thing, or I make something that I don't really have. But yeah, mostly it's due to the plugins that I have. There's like some very useful plugins that I have for Blender, and I don't want to buy them again for 3.4, or I think that's the latest version. Alright, so let me export this and bring it into the engine. This is going to be fun. So carpet runner, fold back. Oh, so 3-die, I am from Romania. I forgot. I didn't read that part of the question. So not so much northern, but southeastern. And okay, let's import it. So I have it right here. Let's see. Hopefully it's not going to be too stretched or too messed up. That's hoping, at least. And where did I put it? It's in the project folder here. There we go. Let's bring it in here. Okay, well, it's not too bad. Let me make this one so it's two-sided. Okay, well, it's alright-ish. No, the carpet is flat. It only has a, well, it does have a thickness, you know, like the mesh itself. But I think Japan, welcome. Yeah, so yeah, it's got a little bit of thickness to it. It's not just a plane. But the material itself, I believe it's just it wasn't two-sided, so and I think at the same time it might have been due to you know what, that's actually a good point. I can't really tell if it's, oh, I think it's one, but it's got a kind of a curved edge, so that's why it's just a flat plane. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have a thickness to it. So my bad on that. Alright, well, now that we have the item, let's actually make this thing kind of turn into something else. And I'm gonna do that did I do that? I'm gonna do that with just going into, let's go into my assets here and blueprints, and let's create another blueprints. And oh, actually no, this is gonna be off of the interactable class. So let's see, interactable, and I think it's down here. So interactable.product, let's create a child blueprint class, and we're gonna name this interactable rug, interactable carpet. Alright, so let's get this to it. It's just a box at the moment, but it's gonna be so much more. Alright, so let's open this up. And if you recall, I was showing it a little bit earlier, where when this one already has the setup where you can interact with things. So in the event graph, what I'm going to implement first is going to be the event interact dot. Alright, so whenever the player is going to be within its sphere radius, and we might need to make this maybe a little bit bigger. We'll see how it looks, but whenever it's in that, it can press E to interact, and then I can make some changes to it. For now, let's change this one to be our flat carpet. So in this one, I'm going to use this to set my parent mesh here to that. There we go. Alright, now each one of these interactable items also can have an item attached to it. So basically it's an item that you can add to the inventory and so forth. But the other thing that it can have is what to say when you interact with it. So for this one, I am going to, let's look for text. So display item action text, it's not in here. Where did I put it? Let's see what happens when I roll over it. Audrey, can you make more things inside Unreal? Yes, you can. I've actually seen a really cool tutorial by somebody where they actually made a like a hoodie from a jacket from a metahuman fit a different body metahuman with the morphing things. You can actually sculpt that in the engine, which is really cool. It's a little bit above my my skill level, but when I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, that is actually cool. You can do that. I did not know you can do that. So and that was all based on morph targets. So he was just sculpting the morph targets of that one item. Alright, let's see what happens. There we go. So now I can interact with it. It's just missing a little bit of a text to say exactly what I'm interacting with. Okay. Now let's make it change the mesh when you interact with it. Usually with my interactable items, there's a state that the item is in. So right now, this particular item is in a closed state. So based on that, I can set it so that you can interact with it and have it do different actions. Like think of the NPC, right? If it's in a busy state, you know, like it's traveling between 2 points, I can set this one to see something else, you know, like not interacting, right? So at that point I'm gonna say it so that, you know, you can't interact with it at this point. And then once the NPC reaches its, you know, final destination, you can interact with it. So that's just one example, but that's what we're going to try and do for this particular item here. So the interact state, I'm gonna start with it as closed because you know, it's in this little you know, it covers the entrance to the basement, right? So I'm gonna go get the interact state. I believe that's what I called it, the interaction state. And off of this, let's do a switch. A switch. So as you can see, I have a bunch of all those interaction states that I can rely on. So if it's in a closed state, that is going to be when it's rolled on the floor. I'm going to say go ahead and give me the interactable parent mesh and set mesh or set static mesh to the carpet runner pulled back mesh, right? So this is going to be that new mesh that I've just imported. Alright, so let's play and see if the mesh change. Alright, so entering the house, and there we go, we roll the carpet, and now there's going to be something underneath. What could it be? But at this point, even though I press E, nothing is going to happen because the only action that I'm doing is changing the mesh. But of course, I probably don't want it to say that I can interact with it anymore. So so for that, yeah, thank you 3Die. So at the point of this, I'm just going to be updating the interact state to set it to something else. So basically, I'm not going to be able to interact with it. And let's see, I wanted to set interact state to say not interacting, maybe. Now the thing is still going to be showing there is a good one for searching underneath things like safe or hidden place. Oh yeah, definitely. Another thing that I wanted to show with this is I haven't implemented, the one thing that I haven't implemented in this just yet is a way, and actually let me check because I haven't looked at this in a while. So basically kind of showing the menu itself, and depending on a particular value to let that be shown or not. So I'm gonna I can't remember if this is active. Was this one is handle register interactable. Okay, so I'm gonna also set it to not be active. So along with the interaction state, I'm just also gonna set the set active to be false. And also the other thing that I wanted to do is these blueprints can communicate with each other, basically. So underneath this, there's going to be another interactable for the little door that opens into the basement. Small town area. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. It's just gonna be a game inside a house, and there's been those games. You know, I've seen those games where it's just inside one house, and there's like a ton of things to do. Apparently, you have to be really creative, but yeah. So. Oh yeah, there it is. I think that's what I was kind of thinking of, something like that, Phasmophobia. Awesome. Okay, let's create the door to the basement, and I actually just noticed that there's a bunch of oh, haunted house. Yeah, there you go, something like that. So the nice thing from the developer was that they've created quite a bunch of different floor pieces. So I'm trying to think of a way to replace. This is like 3 by 3 meters. So I'm trying to figure out what to replace it with, so we can make kind of an opening to the basement. Now there's nothing underneath the stairs right there, and you know, I'm kind of guessing that I could just remove this. Let's actually make sure that it's I should have been a little bit more careful. So I'm gonna try and replace this with let's try this piece here. There we go. So it could be kind of flanking it like that. Actually, let's try and place it on the grid so it's gonna make some things easier for me. So I'm gonna try and do one right there, and then let's see, does it extend into this room? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's very helpful. So let's try and see how far I can take this one so it doesn't overlap with anything back here. And I can actually just kind of lower it down, though it's gonna look a little odd from this point there. Let's see, is there one that's a little thinner? No, I guess it's only the one, this one here. So I'm gonna try and probably you know, hide it, like moving some of these things around a little bit. So because like since it's on the same level, you can see it there, it's just a little bit flashing. So just gonna try and hide it. And you know, there's a little bit of it there, so maybe place some things on top of it, and just so that you don't see it. Okay, so we're almost there with the opening. And Funky Pants, well, this is exactly what we're doing. welcome to the stream. This is exactly what we're doing right now. Alright, so there's the opening. Now let's see if the carpet is going to be able to cover this entire... Oh, there it is. Oh, very nice. Okay. And now what we need is a door. How about that? Let's get a door in there. And I already have one. So I'm going to use this. Yeah. Well, you had no idea of knowing, so it's totally excused. Alright. Now I'm going to quickly save. Just sometimes Unreal can get into a little bit of a fit and crash. Alright, so I'm going to be using this one. And let's see, 90, there we go. And what size flooring are we going to use for its mesh? I'm going to try and get a this 2 meter D, not sure if that one would fit. Oh yeah, where did it go? Oh, it's over there. Oh shoot. Well, this is a little bit of a thing here. So let's these are the hinges. I don't care about those. I was hoping that I had a way that to have it rotate. So it's gonna have to be this angle. I think this piece is actually a little too big, so maybe we'll do with the, let's see, what other pieces do we have for the floor? Could we use the 1 meter? There we go. So we'll just make it a little bit bigger. There we go, like that. It's already large enough on that end, and then let's move it to there about. Okay. Now the only trouble with this is, since it's got a I'm completely using something that's not door-like to have a door. Let me move the location of the dot product. So let's kind of place it about there. Alright. So, as I was saying, with these interactable items, the one thing that they can do is they can activate one another. So basically, this particular door, I'm going to set it to not be active. Let's see, where is the active? Is active. And it also brings me back to attempting to remember how that was working. Yeah, so that's actually a great idea as well. You know, it could have been something, you know, like you would think this place here could be like a vent, right? And it could hide like a little bit of a trapdoor going into the basement down here. But that's adding a little bit of complication to how you interact with things. So having this trapdoor and then a set of stairs, I think it's you know, the easier, simpler way to do it. Yeah. So Andre, the dot product, what that does, along with moving like the interact, because this is like an interaction sphere, is where you look at to interact with this particular object. So for example, if you think of the door, right, the dot product is down here, and if I move it up here, let's see at this point how it's going to work. Alright, so see, before when I was looking to at the handle, the door handle, you know, I would get that message to interact with the door. Now I have to look up here where it's closer to that dot product. So the dot product is taking into account the direction of where you're looking at through the camera, and then where that point is, right? So that's a kind of a nice mathematical thing with the dot product, is that you can okay, yeah, okay, perfect. Oh, so this is great. This was also a great test for the is active. And right now, see, I don't get any interaction text from it. You know, if I get to the carpet, there it is. I have something, but here I don't, and that's just a little bit of an issue with the interact text. I need to fix that it doesn't get reset sometimes. Funky Pants. Oh, so you can pull a rope or something which will open the door, and we'll have stairs as well. Yes, and I think, you know, typically speaking, from a construction point, the rope is kind of when you open something going into the ceiling, and that's definitely an obvious kind of entrance, right? With this one, basically what you would have is you would have the carpet on top of it, and I'm guessing it's a little, this one's a little too high, so let me move it further down. So you'd have the carpet on top of it. You can't see it, that's something there. And then once you remove the carpet, you can see the door, and you know, I'll probably put like a little hinge, you know, like a little handle to signify that you can pull on that. Can I call this dot product sphere as search radius? Well, so the dot product is actually a mathematical thing in here. Let me show you real quick if you're interested. Let's see, where did that well, so that one is actually done in my character when it's looking at something. And let's see, is it in the main character here, or is trying to get the interactable? Where did I put it? There's so many things. Oh, okay, yeah. So if you do know that, then there's no point in showing it to you. But I'm glad that made sense. The thing, the way I have it set up in each one of the interactable, and at least that one I can show to you, is right around this sphere, this collision sphere. So wherever I move, that point is where I'm gonna be, where the player is gonna have to focus to interact with the item, right? Hopefully that made sense. Okay, so I was mentioning that these can activate one another, and what I'm gonna do is let's see if I still maybe, oh, I think I might have not branched or not create this off of the right class. Let's open this up real quick and go to the class settings, and I have the dot product, but it's gonna be a interactable. What did I ever call that? Oh well, no biggie. I think what I did do is in here I can just put a another actor data effects. So actor to enable. So basically, once you interact with it, the actor to enable, which is going to be another interactable dot product master, and let's set this to be editable. So get actor to enable, I'm going to do set as active to true, and let's make it right about there. And now the actor to enable for my carpet, which is that, let's go ahead and select, I need to move it out of the way. Out of the way, get out of the way. So it's going to be this. And now what I'm hoping for is that once I make this action on the carpet, it's gonna turn on, not turn on, but set the active flag to that door. And I'm kind of curious right now because that door is completely different rotation. What angle is it going to rotate at? We might need to make some changes to that particular little mesh, but that should be simple enough. Funky Pants, I work as a software engineer, but it's kind of a, overall it's a jack of all trades type of thing. It's a lot of other duties as assigned as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and roll that up, and now I should be able to interact with the door. Whoopsie. Wow, that's actually a high-tech kind of door. Cool. But I don't want it to rotate that way. I don't like it. And the problem is that again, it's a completely differently rotated door than what the other doors that I have are. So I'm gonna go ahead and export this real quick and actually try and turn it into a door. But do I have to? Maybe I'll just use, let's just use an actual door so it doesn't look like the carpet. It's hidden underneath the carpet. Well, it doesn't look like the flooring. It's hidden underneath the carpet, and hopefully that will work. Oh well, glad they did. Okay, let me find a door. I'm not entirely sure if I have. Let's see, what do I have for doors that would look like? Let's search for static mesh. bum, bum, bum. On the link I copied in, let's see. Did you say you pasted a link in the chat, Funky Pants, for the door? Because I think the way it should work, it should open like this, basically. This is how it should open. So that's my idea, or at least that's how I think this should open. Okay. And and that's how the door works itself, like the door the door asset. I'm just trying to figure out what I can use for the mesh itself. I have a few assets in here, I guess. Oh, thank you. Well, I didn't see it in the chat. It didn't make it, or at least not that I noticed. Yeah. Ask Elon Musk. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see. Door. There's a lot of useless stuff from stuff that I don't use. Okay, well, I think I might have had something out here that was sort of flat and maybe will be useful. Let's try this. It's really looking like a door, but you know, for the purpose of this, we'll just go with it. And this one looks like it's got the hinge right there at the top. Let's try and like place it there. It really looks like a door. This is definitely not the mesh that I'm gonna end up with, but at least it's positioned a little bit more properly, and of course it's not the right size either. So this might affect a little bit of the interaction sphere, but let's hope that at least I can get a door that behaves as a door. So I'm gonna try and cover this opening. I mean, also there's like some other pieces for these floorings that can probably help with a little bit of you know, coaxing in place to cover this and here. I don't need this to be like a 3 meters long opening. Yeah, 3-die. That's actually a good idea as well. Yeah. But let me see what I can do with what. Actually, that's too big. What I currently have in. Well, that's a big one. That's not gonna work. Anyways, okay. Let's make this door. It's gonna be a kind of a big-ish size door, but yeah, I'm gonna get this in. Andres, thank you so much for stopping by, and thanks again for sticking around through the hard times of figuring out what was wrong with that character. And 3-die, see you soon as well. Have a great evening, you guys. See you next week. All right, let's finish this. Let's get this in. All right, so this one is somewhat in place over there, kind of. Let's try and place the location of the dot product as to where it should interact with it. About there, I would think. Let's see, maybe further back. That should be good there. Oh, you said about. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Same names. Thank you for sticking around. Okay, let me move the character inside the house so we don't have to like deal with opening the other door and all that stuff. So let's move him in here. I'm not gonna abandon. This is gonna be a longer running stream than usual, but I'm not gonna abandon it until we can get this in place. Okay, let me fix this one and bring it back to cover the door. Oh, I should have tested. Oh, let's test it afterwards. And see how it would work. Alright, so here we are interacting with the carpet, then with the door. Can we interact with the door? There we go. Oh, it's opened. It opened it moved it. Why did it move it there? That's kind of odd. So let's try and figure out the door interactions first. We have the door there, and why would it move? That's kind of odd. Let's try and get the interacting to be here and move it further back. And the door opening is door opening out. Let's try and make this one to be 90. And I believe with the door, the way I had it set up was I had something to say that it's closed or open. Open, closed. Alright, let's see if we can get it to rotate, at least to rotate to the desired angle. If not, I might just, because I've already made some kind of odd rotations to it, and I forgot to set it to active. Let's actually set it to active as well. And is active, where did I put it? Is active. Let's set it to so that we can interact with it. Hey, who put that door in the floor? So Funky Pants, the story of the game, you start off through, yeah, it's probably overused, but it's a plane crash sequence, and so you wake up, and the reason I wanted to use the plane crash is because I can place the player in right now I have in mind 3 different locations where I can place the player to start the game off from. So depending on the place that you fall into the world, the initial missions at the start of the game are going to be different. And also like kind of the approach to how you're going to meet the friendly NPCs is also going to be a little different. You know, like you'll have different approaches to get to that point, to that location. What's going to happen then, once you meet the friendly NPCs, and they're going to be in that bunker. I'm not sure, you've probably seen it in some of the previous streams, and that's where their main hideout point is at. And so from there on, they're going to give you some of these missions, and they're going to include you're going to have to sabotage some of the stuff that's happening on the island. And I'm not going to tell you what's happening on the island, but you might get some ideas from some of the streams that I'm going to be doing. But you're going to try and sabotage those the enemies that are doing some bad things, of course. And across along the way, there are gonna be some of these like kind of smaller missions where you're gonna be rescuing some of the inhabitants on this town. So 3-die, check the animation if it's playing locally. For this one, yeah, I think it's something related to. Let me actually delete it first. Actually no, well, I'm gonna need to find where this door is at, because I'm gonna try and use it. Yeah, it's probably nothing new, but hopefully it's gonna be interesting for people to play it. Yeah, so what I'm gonna try and do is actually I'm gonna duplicate this door because I have it here, and I'm gonna try and reuse this because let's see. so there's the door. Why won't it rotate at the that's where the hinge is, which is the good placement for it. Yeah, so hopefully as I you know, keep on streaming and show some more of this stuff, you know, things are gonna get a little bit more interesting, and gonna let you into a little bit more of what's happening there on the on this location, on this kind of on this map. With just diffuse and nothing else. And you know, that's the thing, you know, unless I put like you know, a lamp over here, and that might be something good to have, you know, like having this be lit up, you know, so that way it kind of tells you where to search for things, right? Because that's usually with games, right? You need to have that kind of a point of reference of, you know, being a light shining on an opening, or some you know, kind of a different color that you can, a point that you can climb. So what's going on with this door? Hey, what are you doing, door? Why can't you open from this point? Oh, you know what, you might be right. Let's take a look, because I haven't looked at this thing in a while. So let's see. I know I had a bunch of like these things here, but let me open this door up, because you might be right. I'm kind of wondering if it's something related, because the interactable is this, and you know, this is fine. It's just a matter of how when I interact with it. Let me find the master door here. So when you interact with the item itself, how does the rotation happen? So the open door, okay, interacting, and the door opening, what's happening is, oh, it's around the Z, well, it's setting the relative rotation around the Z-axis. So why would that be if it's the relative? Oh, add a socket and drive it? I wish I know how to do that properly, but I'm still a little bit you know, not great at sockets. So this was kind of the simplest way that I could think of doing it. But the weird part is that and what I don't understand, it is setting just a relative rotation, you know, it's not setting the world rotation. So let me close some of these, because there's like a ton of too much noise up in here. Let's close these tabs to the right. So I think out of this entire this entire task, getting the door to open right, which brings us back to what we were discussing earlier, right? It was all this work to make a door open. But yeah, I mentioned it some time ago that doors are like there's like, you'll see there's like game like the GDC, like the Game Developers Conference, that have literally sessions on just how to open a door, or like what a door would be. So which is, you know, it is. Let's see about so door starting relative rotation, Yeah, and there's so many things to consider. I believe one of the things with they were discussing the doors in Last of Us, and the because there's like a specific way that the character interacts with it, and it kind of pauses. Well, it plays like I think it plays like a montage when it interacts with the door. So there's something there in it as well. Um, okay, so this is just a construction script. I was trying to figure out what might be in it. One thing, let me try something real quick as well. Let's try and interact with this while it's say like that. See, would that also affect it weirdly? But it's a very interesting topic, if you think about it. Just all the little intricacies when it comes to doors. Okay, so see that one opens up, and I'm just looking, moving along with it because that thing just kind of kept moving. So here in the viewport, try rotate the mesh only to see. Not sure what do you mean, 3Die? Yeah. So if I do this, oh, just the mesh. Oh, that's a good point. But yeah, that's actually a great point. Let me see. I was kind of thinking that I had a transform for the mesh, but don't I? I guess I don't. Maybe I should add one in. That could be something useful. Because, I mean, well, this is the first time I'm dealing with a door that's on the floor. So let's actually try and edit this as well. Let's open Blueprint Editor for this. And in the construction script, there's the parent stuff. And those are the hinges. Setting the static mesh and changing some of those. Let's add set relative rotation to try and only affect this one, like you were saying. Great idea. Alright, so let's promote this to a variable. Door starting rotation, maybe. I'm not sure if that's going to work out so well for the naming, but let's see how it does. Alright, nothing is changed. So let's try and set this up to 0, 90, or let's do -90 so it flips on the other side, and then 90. Let's put it that way. And then let's see, the target would be 0, or not, sorry. Oh, well, that's kind of because right now, oops, and this one, nope, that's 90. But if I set it to 0, this is what's happening. Why the heck? How do I open this? Shouldn't it be in the y-axis or not? Actually, not necessarily, because this is the. Oh my God, these are like getting kind of annoying. So if you want to open it up, Oh man, I would have to look some of these things up. It's just out of curiosity to see how funky it's gonna try and rotate when you interact with it. Yeah, it's still resetting to this, and that's why I'm not entirely sure. I might need to do a little bit of a deep dive into what I was doing with this interactable mesh, because I think it shouldn't be this one that I'm updating. So the door starting rotation, that's the decal transform. Yeah, that's the thing. It's gonna have to be a child one. Let me see what am I doing in the construction script for the parent. So door starting relative Z rotation. Okay. What does this do? Let me try and oh no, I'm just setting this value. It's not yeah, so it might be a special BP for grounded doors, but you know, I would have liked to have this general door blueprint work, you know, in a more of a, you know, expanded fashion, like something other things can be done with it. So that's why that's why I can't really understand why changing this one, why would it affect? So, and especially when you interact with it, like the weirdest part is when you interact with the door. So this one is just setting different different values. It's not really making any changes. But then when you open the door, this part where I'm oh wait, so I am destroying, I am setting these to 0, and I think that's what this might need to be whichever this one had. So let's try and grab the get relative rotation. Let's split this. Well, yeah, that could be it, but I'm gonna try and see if I can just use what I have here, like so. The only thing that might be iffy is if I should be actually adding. And now that I think of it, it might be if I need to add a relative offset or a relative rotation. But let's see what this does, if it's gonna help at all. Excuse me. Because the main thing is and hopefully, I mean, it did move it up. It wasn't just a rotation. So oh, hey, look at that. And now it just reset again for whatever particular reason. I'm wondering, well, and it's actually setting the collision enabled. So for this one, let me actually at least for this attempt, let me turn that off, so I'm not re-enabling collisions at this point. And I'm really starting to think that add relative rotation. And the only thing is, this should, let me duplicate this so I'm not messing around with them too much, because this one is going to be, it's going to be a 0 to 1, which is good. And let's play from start. I'm going to try and add the relative rotation to it. This is going to be pretty odd. Yeah, I hate to add these like adding stuff instead of setting it to something. So add a vector timeline for driving the good axis. Yeah, you're right. I think I might try and do that. I'll have to put around with that tonight after the stream. Yeah, because aside from the issue earlier today was something, okay, you know, I kind of know where to look for. This is something that I need to experience with. So so let's see how this might look. Because I really want to get into that basement in this stream. You know, like I really want to get that in. And aside from the door opening kind of funky, which can be fixed, it's not that's not the big trouble. Oh, wait, I have an idea. I think, because one of the things that was happening in the parent, let me move these to the side. So this door starting relative Z rotation is actually set before the changes that I'm making in let's see, where did I put those? So metal door, so this is the master. So this stuff here in my metal door, you know, I'm actually setting the relative rotation. So this one, I'm gonna try and set it before this, because this is kind of the starting point, and then I need to rotate it around it. Oh yeah. Using, yeah, I know. 3-die. Keep in mind that using a timeline for driving axis is good for the doors. Indeed, yep. And with the vectors, I haven't really used them much, to be honest with you. Come on. Alright, referencing assets. Yes. Reference them. Alright, there we go. And in here, let's actually create this variable. Compile. It's going to be for the interactive parent mesh. Compile that as well. Alright, and it's this one. This one is set to be visible. Alright. So now let's see if we can reset it here. Rotation values, rotation. Door starting rotation. I think we were saying this one was 90 and then this one was 90 or negative 90. Which one was it? Okay, there we go, about there. And now let's see what kind of mess this makes. Let's ignore the errors for now. Wow, this I think has been the longest stream so far. Whoa, it got messed up again. Why wouldn't you like it? Yeah, a very long one. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad it was interesting. That's the main thing about it. If it was interesting, then I'm happy. Okay, so um, this is getting so messed up. Like the x-axis and this axis is like rotating around the same one. What the heck? What am I doing wrong? Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Set everything to 0, and let's just try this. Let's try rotating the actual. Oh, actually, it doesn't. What the heck? It doesn't let me rotate the after all those changes. Since I've set it to 0. If I rotate the mesh around, it doesn't let me do that. Yeah, it's that construct definitely. Where did I put it? Here. It's because of this. But then, how can I, because it should be simple. You should be able to place this in any position, and then just take into account that I want it to rotate around the z-axis, like the relative rotation of the door around the z-axis. But it doesn't like it. Why? "3D space, man, it's trippy." Yeah, see it and it does this funky little not sure why. And then that. Yikes. Yeah, I know. It's so I think what I might do is, let's actually just let me take a look and see what we have here for. Let's just do one specifically. Let's just do one specifically for this kind of door. I'm not gonna worry about. I'm just gonna keep it simple, because right now these are just the general all the doors that are normal doors in the world. So I'm just gonna do one for this particular type of door, which is a door on the floor, kind of like a trap door that you need to open it to the side, and one and done kind of thing. So that way my brain is not gonna overheat and start puffing smoke over here. Alright, let me save this up, because it has a tendency of creating these stupid auto things here, even though, and it doesn't save the editor preferences properly. It's kind of frustrating, some of these little bugs. Alright, so let's just create a simple floor door, like a trap door. Alright, so I'm gonna start from our basic interactable item to create a child blueprint from that. Where is it? In the blueprints. Alright, so in here we have master interactable. Let's create a child blueprint from that. So this is going to be, I'm going to call this literally trapdoor. Trapdoor. And this is going to start from scratch. Let's bring it in here. There it is. Yeah. I was just getting a little too, well, not frustrated, but kind of Okay, I was trying to remember what I did for that door when I did it, and it was just getting a little too much. So I think just having it, kind of making it simple, it's the best way, at least for this particular item here. Okay, so first let's get the interactable mesh in here, and this one we're saying that oh, I kind of lost where that door was at, so let's look for it again. Door, and let's make that to be a static mesh, and luckily it's not too far down the line. There it is. Okay, and when I interact with it, I'm just gonna let's keep things simple for starters. Add relative rotation, and I'm just gonna add 90 to this for now. Compile, and let's just kind of place it right where the opening would be there. Let's make the interaction probably about right there. Alright. And that's the thing, trying to work all the scenarios for that one door. It's hey, wait, where are you going? Why did you fall? I don't want you to be where is it? Physics enabled. Let's turn that off. And hopefully it's not going to bounce off the floor now. Oh, it's rotating around the Z again. Oh my god, this is so annoying. Huh. I'm kind of thinking also at a different angle. I'm gonna try and add another static door mesh in here. And set this to be let's see if I set this to be not visible, is it gonna do it to the children as well? Hopefully I'm not going off of like in the deep end of the pool right now and not doing anything properly. So I'm gonna set that on that trap the lower kind of the child item in there. Let's see. Okay, well that worked. The only trouble is that it's kind of just falling through the floor, and I don't want it to apply physics. So let's no gravity. Simulate physics is off. Simulate physics. No gravity. Alright, let's try and turn this off to face that way. There we go. And yeah, so it's just gonna keep on rotating, but it opens, so that's good. Well, there's some a little piece of success there. So I'm gonna try and not gonna be too finessing with it for now. Just gonna try and place it somewhat where the trapdoor would be. Let's set it to not be active because it's going to be activated by this guy. Alright, so let's cover it with the carpet, just like that. So no animation at this point. We're gonna have it done by next week. Alright, let's see. So there we go. And unfortunately I need to reset it once I interact with it. And there's that also going over. Okay, so that works. Everything is opening. It's just this little funky thing. Like this one should be, of course the door is gonna be smaller, you know, not to this size. And now let's add the what goes under this, and let's kind of put a hole in the terrain first. Manage, where was that? It wasn't delete. Was it on the paint, I believe? I'm trying to recall what was the that or sculpt visibility. There we go. And I'm trying to remember, oh, one thing that's missing from this material is a visibility channel for the terrain. Oh, this is great. I forgot this is one of the missing pieces from this developer's package. And you know, not to blame them, but because people don't really think about adding a visibility channel. So let's try and add that. I'm gonna go into my terrain material here and try and find that out, where that might be. Master landscape. Alright, so master terrain, I believe it might be this one. Yep, this is the one that I made. And where is that landscape visibility mask? This is what I need. Let's put that in here. Oh, I forgot the whole thing of material functions. They can be a blessing and a curse. Alright, so let's find this particular material properties, material attributes, and I have it right, not there actually. Make material attributes right here. No, I didn't add the. Let me see. Is it the opacity mask? It is. Excuse me. I just made it so that it rotates, and that's it. And yeah, just yeah, basic, you know, for now. I'll kind of, you know, finesse it after probably later on tonight after I get some late lunch. So let's go into and paint some visibility here. There we go. We have an opening. Oh yeah, well the update is gonna be just probably like some of the work on the basement, and but before I end the stream, what I wanted to do is actually have a floor to the basement and be able to climb down the ladder. That's what I wanted to have in place. And let's see. This is this is so funky. Oh my god. The vegetation would still be shown on this even if I apparently, even if I set the visibility to something else, but okay-ish. So let me just put this back in. Paint the layer that doesn't have a grass map applied to it first, just like that. And now let's sculpt the visibility channel and actually make this a proper opening. There we go. Okay, so with that said, let me select the proper world or the proper level, because I already have those two items not in the residential houses level. Alright, so I'm selecting the residential houses level, and let's place kind of a floor to it. What am I gonna get here, and what can I use that might work a little bit better? I'm trying to recall. Let me go to the bunker level. There we go. That's what I'm gonna use. So jumping straight into the bunker level where there's some concrete flooring, which might come in handy. You under the world. Actually, where's the bunker level? Did I move it around somewhere? Bus. That one's there. Where's the other one? Let's see. Oh, it's actually in the parking garage. So let's see which one that is. Here. Alright. And in the parking garage we have some of this stuff which could be used, could work out pretty good for like at least for now. There we go. That looks pretty good for a basement to start off with, or to start from, I would say. And we're getting close to the house, which is right there. Oh, okay. Where's the opening? Come on. There we go. So that's going to be about there. Let's place a couple of them. Just so that we have something to stand on. So that's, oh come on, I'm moving a little too quick here. Okay, there we go. And it's not quite above the opening, so let's try and add a ladder now. Let's see, which one? This one here? Let's see, is there another one? Oh, so this one. This one is, let me tell you, the package is called Angry Mesh. It's a, what is it? If you look, this is the developer, unfortunately. I think it's called Winter Environment. Yeah. Yeah, they render really well. There's some material tweaks that I did to it, but overall it was a great starting point. Yeah, let me know if you can find it. If not, just message me on Discord, and I'll try and find that link. Okay, so this one we need to have a little bit more steps to it to reach the top, about there. Alright, so let's unhide stuff. And this one, I wanted to move the interaction sphere to be a little bit closer to the edge over here. So that's also something that I need to consider is where you interact with it. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a good discount. That's a good discount. Okay, wait, what happened? Oh shoot, I was about to that's something to think of, because I don't want to interact with the ladder unless the door is opened, like the trap door. So let's try and see if I can also affect this. Alright, so this one's based on an overlap, and it can work the same way as the kind of in a three-step type of effect. So this one is going to affect the trapdoor. Then the trapdoor itself is going to affect the ladder. So that's what I need to do. And let's edit this real quick. So when I do an interact dot, I also need to say the set active to to enable this other item, and that's gonna be through enable item through an interface call. So this one is gonna be, I'm gonna promote this to a variable, and this one's gonna be ladder, and I need to make it editable. Alright, so this one is going to have the ladder, which is going to be, let's actually select, oh, and I think this is an object, actually should be an actor. Let's make that into an actor and not an object. Wow, this stream has gone really long, 3 hours almost. Alright, so enabling the ladder, and in here this one's the ladder. Let's select it. Let's try and grab ladder. Oh, since I have some more of them, I'm gonna try and just do this kind of thing here. And are they not in the same? They're probably, oh, they're not on the same level. So I need to move those to the residential houses level as well. Yeah, well, this is kind of the last straw, right? So literally, these are the last steps of what I plan to do today. Alright, and what that's gonna do is in the zone ladder I clicked when you quit. Thank you so much for sticking around, 3Die. Okay, so in here what I need to add is going to be a variable to say is active, and I need to implement in the class settings. I'm also going to add the it's not properly named, but it's this inventory interface. So what this is going to do, I'm going to be able to implement the event enable. I thought it was in this one. Was it not in this one? Oh my god. Let me see. What interfaces did this one have? Inventory interface. That's the enable item. Inventory interface and simple icons. So the inventory interface should be the one that I should have here. Oh, let me see. Enable item. There we go. So let's implement this. So when enable item, at the point of enabling the item, we can set these active. Nope. Let's actually set it. Oh yeah. So this one, the ladder is actually part of the custom movement package, and I think it was made by somebody from Korea. Alright, so when this is active, now I can just check for it here. So get is active. So branch. So only interact with the ladder if is active is true. I'm gonna set it by default to true because I have a bunch of other ladders in the world. And alright, so at this point I'm gonna set the is active for this one to not be true, and let's try and play. So hopefully now it's not gonna attempt to interact with the ladder unless the door is opened. And I know I'm probably overcomplicating it. You know, it could be like just steps. Alright, so first I need to interact with this guy. There we go. Now I need to interact with this guy. And come on. Why won't you go down the ladder? Oh, totally. Yeah, it's definitely good. The one thing that I can't really understand, I'm gonna need to do a little bit of digging into it, is why this is not working. This custom movement here. I'm not sure if it was due to some of the issues that we had earlier, but I'm gonna see why that is not working properly. So, well, anyways, I think we've gotten some pretty good good stuff going here, and hopefully by next week I'll have the car working so you can interact with it and drive around. Yeah, 3 hours full. That's a good place to stop, I guess. Yeah, so by next week hopefully the car is going to be implemented so we can have some fun driving it around, and maybe also doing this one mission here. I'm going to try and focus on bringing some more outfits for the NPCs to get a little bit variety in them, and and see how this is going to work. And that's one of the reasons that I think if you rescue the people from the basement, having steps and not a ladder would work a lot easier with the navigation, because I think it's going to be it's going to be a lot more difficult to get them to climb up the ladder instead of the steps. The steps are manageable with the navigation mesh, but not the ladder so much. So I think I'm gonna scrap the ladder and just do steps going into the basement. I think that might be what I'm gonna end up doing. But thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out to the end of the stream. And I'll see you next week, okay? Alright, have a good one, 3 Die. See you next week. Have a great week starting up. Alright, bye everybody.